It's Rindall here for the second time today, this time with Joel Houston. I don't even think I need to introduce this guy. You all know who he is. I'm looking forward to talking to him. Joel is in his studio in Orange County. I'm up about 3,000 miles north of him in Langley, British Columbia. So let's get with Joel. Oh, there you are. Oh, just
Are
one
we on
second.
here?
There. Forgot to set it. Good to have you, Joel.
Mate, great to be here. Thanks for having me.
Man, I feel like this is the first time we've met, but I just feel like there's so much history that you kind of symbolize for me because my whole life growing up as a worship leader has been like alongside the journey of Joel Houston, kind of growing up, giving us so many songs. So thanks for the journey. It's been a good one. You've been a huge inspiration to me in music, worship leading. I mean, even what I'm doing in PraiseCharts, just right from the beginning, from the year 2000, started with your songs, and we're still 250 songs later, still more Hillsong United music.
Yeah,
But
well, a journey it has been. That's probably the best
I
way
know.
to
Hey,
put
well,
it.
that's kind of what I wanted to talk about here a bit today. Before we get into the music, I had to say this is let me tell you something. I'm on a bit of a journey myself, and you're the guy to talk to about this. Is I'm starting to grow my beard, and I'm like, you're the beard man. You've been around this block a few times.
Yeah, I certainly have. It turns out that if you just don't touch it, it just grows. Yeah, that's the secret I've found.
Okay.
Yeah, just let it
Here's
grow.
my problem is I constantly, because I've never had it even this long before, but I'm constantly kind of wanting to twirl it and doing all that. So
that's when it becomes fun, when you can wrap it around your fingers. You know, I made the mistake at one point. My mustache got too long, and I don't know why, but I can't remember. Something happened, and a little bit of it just got jammed between my teeth. And I mean, it was honestly one of the most awful experiences because I wanted to shriek, but that pulled it worse. Anyway, so don't chew on it. That's all I'm trying to say. Okay,
it's tempting. I don't want to gross my viewers out, but I do often like trim it up at the top of the lips because I don't like it dangling in my mouth. Yeah, there you go.
It's important.
Okay, that was for free. Anybody listening in, a little beard advice there. You know, I feel like I'm the newbie on the block. Good stuff. Okay, well, here's just another thought is I was just kind of looking on PraiseCharts. Okay, so we're kind of looking here. I'm in the Hillsong United thing, and I was just like scrolling. I mean, my mouse is getting exhausted as I'm scrolling down and down and down, just the history of music that you bring us. So many songs. I think I'm still only like halfway. I don't know if even looking at this list brings back memories of these album images all the way down there. There's apparently the worst selling Hillsong United song currently in PraiseCharts. So
I don't think I wrote that one, so
I'm sure. This is kind of what I wanted to ask to start because I feel like I've got a lot of history walking this journey of life with you. I just looked you up. You're 42 years old. I don't know if you wanted to declare that, but I just did. I'm 52, so I got 10 years on you. Mm-hmm. When I was 30, you were 20, starting probably to write your songs. And I just wanted to start and ask if you could take me back a bit to some early, like, shaping years or experiences. Like what are some of the earliest moments in your life that you feel formed you or, you know, nudged you into this whole direction that you're in? Obviously you got huge history with your mom and dad and Hillsong and all of that, but like what's a personal shaping early experience that you look back to?
Yeah, I mean, there's so many actually. When you look back properly and you go, oh wow, like that little, you know, it's funny because I grew up in, you know, my parents were pastors. You know, church was kind of something you had to do. It felt like as a kid, you know, it was, and you know, it was a great church. It was young. There was no expectations. There was no kind of grand plan for anything that you know, we've seen but there were moments, you know, where uh, like we'd be kids during the holidays. You know, both my parents worked at the church, so there'd be me and a few other kids, my brother and a couple other kids whose parents were there, and we would just get up to mischief, run around and just try and get into things. I remember at the time there was people who they would do this thing where people would I guess come to church and and kind of hand in contraband, like whatever that might be, as an
Yeah.
offering. Like, I've got my life right. Here's my cigarettes, and
Oh yeah.
here's my rock and roll records or whatever else
Yeah.
there was. And so we would just kind of be just kind of getting up to mischief around the church. I remember one time we found this story where all the contraband was, all things we didn't know. But here were all these like crazy heavy metal records and whatever else.
Yeah.
I remember just kind of going through them going, what is this? But we would just kind of, the stage would be set up with the instruments, and we didn't play instruments, but we would just get up and everyone would jump on something, me and my friends, and we would just make music. And I remember, uh, I couldn't play anything, so I just kind of grabbed the microphone and just made sounds. And I thought we sounded incredible. None of us had any music ability, but it wasn't. We got in trouble.
Hmm.
But I think about those moments, and my first real job working at church, not working at church, but my first responsibility, I guess. I was like 11 years old at the time, so it would have been 91, and I kind of started being the overhead projector guy. I think a lot of
Yeah.
people who grew up in
Yeah.
church. So me and my friend, 11 years old, and we were the overhead projector kid. And I remember, like the responsibility and like old ladies coming up to us afterwards and getting mad because, we're not moving the words quick enough. And,
Right. Yeah.
worship leaders go, we of course got really good at it too.
Yeah.
I'd get a little piece of paper and scroll down. It's so funny because you look back now, as small as that is. I remember this one worship leader coming up to me and he was mad because I'd
Yeah.
framed out the lyrics so that it was easier for people to read. And he got
Right.
mad because he said, by law, you're meant to leave the songwriter's name there for them to see. And I just remember thinking, this guy, like, you're a jerk, like, but there's little things like that. I look back now and I just go like, I don't want to be that guy. And even just the way, like, I probably was the first time I really cared about what the words said, because to these songs, otherwise they're just songs you sung in church. But here I am focusing so much on making sure that what people are singing is what they can see, and all that stuff informs, I think, the journey much further on. But I think probably the answer you're looking for is, when I was about, I got passionate about music. Just we played in a band, and it was it wasn't a worship band. It was just a band, but guys in church. Our original name was called Consecrated, and had a bunch of the other guys Mikey, who's still a huge part of what we do, was in the band. Marty Sampson,
Yeah.
and we were so serious about changing the world, with music, but we didn't see it happening in church. And at the time, there was plenty of songs flowing out of our church, but it just seemed like adult music. It didn't seem like it kind of fit with us as 15, 16-year-olds. And I remember distinctly listening to Delirious live and in the can for the first time. And
Right. I have that memory as well. The actual can. Did you have the can?
Yeah.
Crazy.
I had the can. Yeah.
I had the can.
Yeah, you had the can. A lot of people out there had the can. But it was like the first time I think I heard, even as growing up, we had Shout to the Lord going in these amazing songs, but there was something in that kind of, it sounded like the bands I liked at the time. It sounded,
right.
And it was like there was a rawness and an authenticity to it. And there was no video. I didn't know what Martin Smith or Stu G looked like or anything like that. I could hear the Spirit of God moving through this CD, and I just listened to it. Because I grew up in church, I wasn't really a fan of Christian music. None of that appealed to me. That CCM side of things, just that never made sense. But that was huge. And I think, then we bought those songs and started playing them in our youth ministry, and what it unlocked, it was a move of God, and it marked us and changed us. And at that point, really since then, before that, I was writing songs about anything. but I don't. It's been really hard for me to ever write about anything other than
Yeah.
the story of Jesus
Gospel. Yeah.
and God's faithfulness. So
Yeah.
here we are, all these years later.
That is so amazing. Like, I wonder how
Mhm.
many others maybe listening in had that experience with that
Yeah, I'm
can
sure.
and those early songs. And if it wasn't that, what kind of early album kind of made a mark? I know I remember listening to Matt Redman for the first time. I had no idea what he looked like.
Yeah.
I had no brand, no, I didn't know what Worship Together was, and this Martin Smith stuff. But it's just like it felt different. It felt like,
Hmm.
and then when the song, what's the song? Oh, the big song from that.
Did you feel the mountains
Yeah,
tremble?
that one. Sorry, I just had a.
Or I could sing your
Anyways,
love forever.
well, that one, of course, too. But did you feel the mountains tremble? I went to a worship service, a youth service once, and it was like I had never experienced that level of intensity from the congregation when I
Yeah.
heard them singing. I wasn't struck by the band. I was struck by, I've never seen people respond
Yeah.
like this, right?
I mean, we
So,
had a youth. It was a youth, like we have a summer camp, and it's always an amazing
yeah,
time, and and we played "Did You Feel the Mountains Tremble." It was the first time we bought it. It was 1998, and we started the song kind of at the end of the. Normally, we would like play games and do all that kind of stuff. We just started with worship, and we played the same song for 4 hours. Like we just played
really,
"Did You Feel the Mountains
what?
Tremble" for four
No,
hours, and no one wanted to leave, not one kid,
no,
and yeah, God did something crazy, and
yeah,
we went back. That's when we went back to church after the camp, and we did the song on the Sunday night in our church service. At that point, none of us had played, on the main stage really.
yeah,
They got the youth team up, and I actually didn't get to play. I was in the crowd, and it changed our church. And then, literally from that point on, every single week, songs started coming. We were bringing new songs in our youth ministry.
right.
And it's out of that season, songs like "Every Day" and all that
Yeah.
kind of stuff just started
Oh
flowing.
man, I've led the
The,
song every day so many times. So great.
yeah,
Okay, so the next thing I wanted to ask, and I love just talking about the good old days like this, but what like how would you say, how is the Joel Houston now different than the 20-year-old? I mean, now you've been all around the world, you've been on the stadiums. Now people would point to you and go, well, it was Joel's first album, first song or whatever that influenced them. So you've had a lifetime of experience, and I'm sure it's been some ups and downs. Like, I don't know, how would you say you've been shaped over the whole experience of what you've been through in the last 20 years? Can you
yeah.
capsulize that in a little bit?
I mean, it's there's been a million ups and downs and swings,
Yeah.
and for the most part, I think like the things that God really teaches us, because he knows us so personally.
Yeah.
Like, so for me, it might be insecurities. It might be lacking confidence,
Huh.
feeling, especially as you get older. I think you start to go like I don't want to be that guy who's just kind of adding noise.
Right.
If there's something
Yeah.
else happening, I don't want to just bring more songs because that's what we do.
Yeah.
um it's always wanted to feel like it's anchored in something, and that it's birthed from um something that the Spirit of God's breathing in and through us. That's the only way I can explain all the good times, and it's the only way I can explain how God's kind of got us through the tougher ones. And
Mm-hmm.
I think if anything nowadays, I've learned I'm more aware, I would say, of what's really important,
Hmm.
especially when it comes to the whole rigmarole around how we
Hmm.
view worship and whatnot. Things like touring and things like even measures of success.
Hmm.
They're not. You learn, oh, that stuff just comes and goes. That doesn't define who you are, or at the end of the day, what you're about. And I think more than ever, I see a real responsibility now in helping, um, well, a desire at least to kind of see the new thing birthed again in younger
Hmm.
people. I feel like, yeah, it's strange to say, but I felt like in the last couple of years, it's been the first time in my life I felt like I've actually had a calling, whatever that means.
Hmm.
And it's
Hmm.
not to lead worship, and it's not to write songs.
Hmm.
For me, it's more about kind of being a good steward of the platform we have, and wanting to curate new spaces and new ways
Hmm.
to express worship in different forms, not just music,
Hmm.
and more than anything to kind of help um, really unlock what is going to be unique, um, and that is what God wants to do through the next generation, so to speak.
Yeah.
There's songs. So I think that to me is, it's nice to be on the other side of all that,
Hmm.
like,
Hmm.
and still passionate. I still got, there's ideas in my heart, and there's songs. I was literally writing a song until we said hello to each other, and
Really?
I'm looking
Wow.
at it, and I'm like, yeah, I want to finish that. I want to try and finish this. I think this is going to be a song that could help people, and I'll give you a taste of the lyric. This is the lyric. The
Oh,
first lyric
I
goes,
want to know it.
There is more than we bargained in the power of the blood. So don't trade your hope in the second chance, God, even if you've blown it 3 too many times." That's it. That's the
Wow.
first verse. Anyway,
Great.
I
I'm
don't know if
waiting
that makes
for it.
sense. Yeah. Anyway, you may see the light of day, it may not. But like
Yeah.
songwriting for me is not. It's like I have to do it. Like it's just
Yeah.
not because I have to. It's like an outlet. Like it's this is
Yeah.
the way for me it's communion. Like with God. Even
Yeah.
if no one sees the song or hears it, it's become part of um, my mechanism for navigating all of the uncertainties and of life. And within that journey, to answer your question, I'm a big roundabout guy. I speak in circles, but I am going to get
Yeah.
back to answering your question specifically. The thing I've
It's
learned
all right.
is that the journey is one of repetitive revelation, repetitive trust, a repetitive need and desire to rely on God, and constantly being blown away over and over again
Yeah.
at how good God's grace is, and
Right.
how it's the simple stuff that just it gets drummed in deeper and deeper,
Yeah.
and I'm okay with that. I don't need to have it all figured
Yeah.
out. To me, it's like God's teaching me the same thing at 42 as He was teaching me at 17, and
Hmm.
He's teaching me the same thing at 42 as He was when I was 21, and at
Yeah.
25 and 29. There's these moments where I go, "Oh my goodness!" Like it's not that I forgot;
Again.
it's that I
Yeah.
needed to be reminded that it goes deeper,
Yeah.
and the journey is one of more trust and more of a need to kind of serve God.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like you're kind of setting up a perfect segue to talking about the song that is just new because it's called On Repeat. So that's
Yeah.
obviously like a
I didn't
cycle.
script it that way.
I
No, but
know.
now that we're
Nobody,
there,
we didn't plan
yeah.
this. But before I go to that song, and I want to go there, but I just feel like, Joel, part of what I'm hearing you too is you're moving from a place like we don't see you as a youth anymore. You're becoming like a father, right? Like a father figure to the younger generation. You're wanting to pour in. That's what fathers do. And I kind of feel like that in myself as well. I wanna pour into people, and
Yeah.
I know what it's like to be 15 and 20 and 25 and dealing with all the insecurities of all of that stuff. But now it's time to pour back out and keep doing the thing we're good at. So
Yeah.
yeah. Okay, so about the song On Repeat,
Oh,
which I've
look at
got the
that.
lyrics, and we've got the chord chart. We've got, of course, hundreds and hundreds, but this is the latest. I was just listening to it a couple of times, and I wondered if you could just maybe take us through the song a little bit. I feel like the
Hmm.
song is quite a personal song, even though it looks like it was written by a group of you, but it's
Hmm.
like a personal expression of surrender
Yeah.
and wanting grace. So maybe tell us a little bit about how this came about.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I wrote it with, as far as I'm concerned, three of the best. I mean, the three of my best friends. But
Ah,
we'd never
yeah,
all written a song together. So Ben Fielding, Ben Hastings, and
yeah,
Aidan King. And the the kind of the lion's share of the song, the verse and the chorus, kind of been around for a while. Something I had a ways back. I didn't necessarily have a lyric on it, but I was trying to write a song called "Grace on Repeat" like about 4 years ago.
Hmm.
But there was a song called "Grace on Repeat" and never saw the light of day. And so we were just we were actually kind of writing. We bunkered down in a house out in the desert. We'd been writing a bunch of stuff. And I walked in. Aidan was just playing the piano and singing as he does, and he kind of just sung that little bit of melody, and it was
Hmm.
unattached to anything. And I started singing the chorus because it just came to mind. It sparked the chorus, and Aidan was just, "This is." He goes, "Dude, there's something in that, something in that." And I said, "He's like, what is that? What is that?" I said, "It's just a song. I don't know. Like, it doesn't really have a bridge or anything." And we
Hmm.
just started singing it, got to singing the verse, and we started singing those words. It just seemed really natural. I'm going to lay
Hmm.
my world down here at your feet, look to the heavens for all I need. I'm going to sing my heart out, praise on repeat. Just kind of came out. And then Ben Hastings walked in, and he immediately was like, "This is a vibe." And so he goes, "I got this bridge with Ben Fielding," and so he just started
Yeah.
singing the melody to that bridge, and it all fit. We sat on it for a bit, and it just felt like the song was really clear that, like, hey, like, if you boil it down, our existence, the process of a day, like sometimes life can feel monotonous. Sometimes it can just feel like we're just kind of in that place where we're in between the promise, and where we are and the promise, just like this liminal space. But that's where God always is doing the working, obviously. And it just the song just kind of came. It's like, hey, listen, like every time I come home, every time I need it, like, God, his grace is just repetitive again. His mercies are
Hmm.
new every morning. There's really simple
Hmm.
stuff that's just littered through scripture. And
Hmm.
and our response to that is our trust. We need to repeat our trust, and we need to repeat our praise. And
Yeah.
so the song kind of just fleshed out that way. And I really, I mean, the bit to me that I was kind of felt like, when you're cracking away at lyrics, which is the way I do things. Sometimes it just comes, but more often than not, I just live in it. And when the way the second verse kind of shaped out to me, that's when I got excited for the song. And it
Yeah.
says, "You're the mercy at midnight." And I love the thought, that um, his mercy arrives before we've even kind of awoken to the day. His mercy's already there. It greets us.
Right.
And so that thought that the morning begins, at midnight. And so God's already ahead of us. And then all through the day is the kindness of dawn, my hope in every waking hour, and the strength I lean on. And every time it
Yeah.
comes to sundown and the night sets in, let my soul remember just how good you've been. And again, my heart will sing. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's a nice song.
Amazing. Have you already had the chance to sing that song like in church, or is it like
I have
not yet?
not.
Because you're waiting, you're on the brink of heading out in the bus or in the plane or I don't know what, you and Tomlin and all your best friends, right?
Yeah, I mean, they've sung the song in Australia at church there, and apparently it went great. I can see it. I can,
Apparently.
I'm a visual, like I can see when you're writing a song. To me, I can see. Um, there's a picture in my mind, of what
Yeah.
it looks like and what it feels like in a room singing that particular song. And um, I can't wait to sing this one with people. I can't wait to sing it in
Yeah.
church. So maybe this Sunday I'll sing it. Yeah, I'm not leading worship, so someone else is. So it's up to
But
them.
you are
But
you're about to head out, right? Like I wanted to just chat a
yeah,
little bit about this. So this must be I mean, this is old hat to you, this is a day in the life of Joel Houston, but any of us there's like, "Oh yeah, I'm going out with Tomlin for, 6 weeks and stadiums full of people, especially in this era where, it's just a privilege to be around 3 people, never mind 40,000 or however many people that they're going to be. But
yeah.
are you excited to
I
launch
I
out
am.
again?
It will have been 3 years, since pretty much, or 2.5 years since we were on tour,
Yeah.
and we were out. So, it's been really difficult for us, just because half of our guys are in Australia. There's a few of us here in the States. So trying to kind of just with the way restrictions and all that kind of things have worked, it's been really difficult to try and plan this, make it happen. You know, we hit a few more roadblocks, obviously, with the way things have been in the moment. But I know that Chris and I had been talking about this, honestly, for about 10 years, about the
Really?
idea of making this work. Yeah.
Wow.
And the timing hadn't worked. And we were planning to do it in 2020. And then obviously that didn't happen. And then in 2021, and that didn't happen. Now in 2022. So it's going to happen. And I have to believe that, that by the time we get to it, it's going to be pretty special. I can't wait.
Is Tomlin like quite a natural fit in with the Hillsong United group, or is it like A side and B side, or how what's that? What's that feel like?
Looking at it from the outside in, I'm not sure. I mean, I know Chris. He's one of the guys, So Chris is, he's a great friend. I love him. I think he's just, a huge inspiration, and what he's done, and the way, the songs he's brought, all of the rest of it. I just think about the songs that he's got. You talked about our story and the songs,
I know.
and you talk about his.
He's the same. Yeah, for sure.
And so I think, there's a fair bit of nostalgia when we were talking about stuff. He was getting excited about songs like Inside Out and The Stand and stuff. And I was, I was getting excited about, all these
How
songs
great
that he
is our
hasn't
God?
even, but even going back further, he hadn't even, he's like, I don't really do that one anymore. And I'm like, well, we don't really do that one anymore, but maybe we should just do them, So I think it's going to be, the night's going to be broken up, and Chris is going to take a part. We're going to take a part of the night, and then we're going to mash some things up in between. But I think, there's something, sometimes that old stuff, and the memories that are attached to a song, and our experience or our understanding of God, or what season we were going through, when we first sung How Great Is Our God, I remember exactly where I was, and I remember the way it connected with me. And, I think that's what I think could be really special about these nights is, something old, something new, but that old stuff, for a lot of people, I think just reminding people again of the faithfulness of God, because sometimes we get so caught up in, well, what's God doing now? Like the world's gone crazy, what's going to happen? And there's a song for that. But I also think some of these songs, I believe, are going to really open up people in the room to remember again the faithfulness of God through those seasons. And really, I think it's going to be a really special time.
It's interesting. We've even noticed in PraiseCharts, just watching, because we see all the songs that people capture for their church, and there's like this resurgence in the last year of older songs. People are looking for old worship songs. Somehow they're just trying to like reconnect with something that stabilizes them, something that brings them back to who they are, because we've lost some of that kind of rooting in the last couple of years. So
it's funny when we start talking. I mean, we're not anything like it, but that's why the hymns are still so great. Like there's something about coming back to something that's timeless. And I'm not trying to compare any of his or our songs to those, but there's something about that it's foundational, and it becomes, it's like a bedrock. It's gonna be really great.
Okay, well, Joel, thanks for taking me on quite the journey. We went from the beard to the good old days to the most recent thing in the world, and your tour.
And I assure you, we barely scratched the surface.
All right. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Joel.
Thanks to everyone who's listening.
Look forward to it, and say hi to Chris Tomlin for us. See you later, buddy. Thank you.
All right.
Okay. Bye then.